I scaled my online coaching business to over $1 million a month, and in this video, I want to break down step by step exactly how I got there and pull back the curtain, being transparent on the different things that I learned, the challenges that I faced, the different opportunities that presented themselves that I seized to scale my business to over $1 million a month. So sit back, I'm going to be diving in and walking you through exactly how I was able to scale my online coaching business to $1 million a month. Let's dive in. So I actually started out in business back when I was very young. I was actually 12 years old back in 2009, and I started a YouTube channel around mobile apps and technology tutorials. The first generation iPhone had just came out, and I was so excited to share videos with friends and family. I had all of these amazing applications that I wanted to share. And so what I started doing was posting videos online. Now, I had already posted videos. I'd already, by that point, taught myself Adobe Premiere and how to edit videos, and I was doing kind of more sketch and fun videos with friends at the time. But what I ended up doing was I realized people wanted to watch the videos that I had where I was talking about my iPhone and teaching people how to use their phone, the best apps to download. And so the first inflection point was realizing, hey, I've got something here that more people want to watch. So a big thing to ask yourself is, what are you passionate about? What are you excited about? And again, you don't have to start at a very young age. That's just my journey. But what are you excited about every single day that can turn into a business? So I realized very quickly, wow, this is exciting. A lot of people are watching this. And I saw the views start to rack up. Now I was getting thousands, and then tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, and then even millions of views, that people were watching my videos to learn how to use their iPhone, learn the best apps to download. They were actually learning about what I was teaching. And so what I realized was I had influence. Before influencer was even a word, right? I had influence online with video. And so what started happening is I'd have all of these different applications, all of these different businesses that were looking to promote their apps reaching out to my channel. At the time, I was getting about 50 inbound requests every single day. These were big applications that were looking to promote their app on my YouTube channel. So we had like 50 of these a day. So what I realized was, wow, I can actually respond to some of these, and maybe 80, 90% were not interested in paying anything. They wanted a free review. And occasionally I would do different reviews if the app was good enough. But what I'd also respond with was a template to get people to actually sponsor me and the YouTube channel. So I refined this over time. I was learning what was working. And so that was a pivot there where I actually figured out the business model. The reason I explain that, and that's not the business that I'm at today, the reason I explain that is you want to find the opportunities that present themselves. I was getting 50 inbound requests a day, and I realized, wait a second, most of these people don't want to buy anything, but there's a chunk of these people that are willing to actually pay me money to talk about their app on my YouTube channel. And so what I did is I created a rate card. I created a whole system around that. And I then created a process to actually be able to help those apps create videos, get sponsorships, to get consistent apps and downloads. But the thing that was unique is I actually focused on it as a marketing channel for them, as opposed to just a shout out or a sponsorship, right? So I was actually estimating, here's the number of downloads you could potentially get by featuring your app on my channel. Here's the amount of views that you're gonna get. Here's the exposure you're gonna get. So approaching it more as a business than just a YouTube channel. And that's a really valuable thing for you to look at, because regardless of what you're working on, you wanna ask yourself, how can I turn this into a business and focus on the business side of this? Yes, enjoy the passionate side that you like, but how can you actually earn money from what you do? And so the channel kept continuing to grow. Crossed the 100,000 subscribers. I remember that when I was in high school, I got the 100,000 subscriber plaque, and then from there, I was off to the races. I was getting all of these different sponsorships, all of these different people. It was earning some serious income. And I was actually even using it to pay for my college education. But by that time, I realized that my YouTube channel was linear growth. And this is really valuable because this is the type of thing you might be discovering in your business. There's a difference between linear growth businesses and exponential growth businesses. Linear growth businesses grow like this. They grow linearly, right? So you put more effort in, you get more money out. And so in order for me to actually earn more revenue with that business, I had to produce more content. I had to sell more sponsorships. I had to put more in to get a one-to-one return in terms of the value that I got out. And yes, I was continuing to do that, but there was a cap on how much I could do. So I realized that I wanted to find an exponential business where I could have an idea and then actually scale exponentially. And that would later be AdOutreach, so we'll dive into that in just a second. And so what I said is, well, how can I bring some incredible people into the business? So I hired an incredible video editor. I hired a script writer. I hired a business development person to actually answer all of those emails that I was getting. And next thing you know, I was only creating the content. I had somebody to actually negotiate the deals, reply to those 50 emails a day I was getting as inbound emails. I had someone to actually write the script. So once we got the sponsorships, all of the bullet points, all of the research on the different applications. Obviously, I provided my own insights at that time, but I didn't have time to go in and test out all of these apps. And so going in and testing out all those apps. And then also editing on the back end. So taking the videos that I would record, I would just turn on the camera, I would record the videos, and then sending it off to a video editor that would then put it all together, and then we'd be able to publish it on the channel. And so I turned the amount of time that I was working into a much smaller amount of time. Actually, at the time, what kind of led me to this was reading the 4-Hour Workweek, and I asked myself, well, how can I do this with my business? How can I do this with AppFind so that I can focus on what's next? Now, I think the real hack, if you're looking to scale and grow, is reading the 4-Hour Workweek to condense what you're currently doing and then doing another business. You don't have to just do that to live the laptop lifestyle and spend a very small amount of your time working, right? Because I knew I wanted to do more. I wanted that exponential growth business. But to do that, I had to pull myself out of the linear growth business. But I knew that the linear growth business could provide a consistent income for me. So I now had all of these different team members, and later on I'd even hire somebody to be the face of AppFind. So AppFind's still running to this day, has over 500,000 subscribers, and I spend just about an hour a week. Not even 4, an hour a week. And actually, if you listen to some of Tim Ferriss's interviews, I think he actually said it in the book. I forget if it was an interview or he said it in the book, but he says that he was going to name the 4-Hour Workweek the 1-Hour Workweek, but people wouldn't believe him, so he put 4 hours. And that's what I've actually achieved with AppFind. I've got an hour call every other week, and then probably about an hour every other week of administrative things I have to do just to keep the channel running. And that YouTube channel consistently generates me between $10,000 to $15,000, sometimes $20,000 of profit every single month, which I can use to pay all of my living expenses, all of the travel, all the fun, all the food I want to eat, all the things I want to do. My entire cost of living is still, to this day, paid for by the original linear business that I created when I was younger, and then I automated by hiring strategic people to actually continue to run it for me. And so that gave me the freedom. That gave me the freedom to focus on my next business, my exponential growth business, the business that became $1 million a month business that, of course, we're continuing to grow and scale. But that business, AdOutreach. Now, the way this came to be, and this is really valuable, was through the form of an opportunity. So one day, about 7 years ago, we had a particular social media networking app that had hired us to do a video. Now, they were excited. We published the video on YouTube, and all of a sudden, they get tens of thousands of views. They get thousands of downloads. They're like, this is fantastic. We want to pay you to publish that video again tomorrow. And so I took a second. I said, well, I don't want to just have you pay me to post the same video tomorrow because it's not going to work. It's not going to work. I don't want to just take your money. It's not going to work that way, right? Publishing the same video to the same channel, the same viewers the next day isn't going to double the results because they didn't really understand the marketing side of it, right? You can't just publish the same video to the same channel. But what I said is, what if we do this? What if we take that video that we know works so well, got so many downloads, we take that video and we run it as a YouTube ad? Now, they were skeptical at first, because this was 7 years ago. People weren't really running YouTube ads. It was all Geico and Ford and all these big commercials. And so they were a little skeptical at first. But finally I said, okay, let's give it a shot. Here's $500. That wasn't even how much they were going to pay me, by the way, to do another sponsored video. They even gave me a smaller fraction of that. They were less confident in this than even publishing the video twice. But they gave me $500 and I took that, and in 1 week, we got over 11,000 users for their app. They were blown away. It was the best promotion that they had ever seen. And then, of course, they greenlit even more promotions behind that app. We continued to grow and scale that. Then they told their friends when there was another company that hired us, and all of a sudden I was running a multi-$1,000 a day YouTube ad campaign for the second client I ever worked with on YouTube ads. And they were blown away. They said, these results are incredible. And so I get a call from a marketing company that kind of represented this collection of companies. And I get a call from them and they say, hey, we're the marketing agency that's working behind these companies. We want you to drop out of college, fly out here to Silicon Valley, join our company. You can head up the YouTube ads division of our company. We've raised several series of funding. We'll give you a 6-figure salary. We'll give you stock options in our company. You can keep doing your YouTube channel too. So they were giving me on a silver platter, right, this big offer. And I turned it down. I said, I want to be the king of my own castle, not the knight in someone else's. And probably a lot of you can resonate with that. You don't want to just be the knight in somebody else's castle. You want to be the king of that castle, even if it starts off smaller and you can scale and grow. Now, a lot of you watching here who maybe aren't entrepreneurs, you want to find that castle you want to be a knight for. So I'm not belittling that. It's an incredible, valuable thing to do. But for those of us that are hardwired as full-on entrepreneurs, we want to take that risk. We want to turn down the golden opportunity, and we want to say, I'm going to make myself an opportunity that's better than gold, even if it takes more time to realize that opportunity. And so what I did was I kind of unofficially formed it. I don't think I created the legal entity for another 6 to 12 months, but I created AdOutreach, which was YouTube ads for mobile apps. And I started tapping my network. And notice the pivot there. I got this massive opportunity, turned it down, and I said, I know that I have something big here. And that I knew, I could feel it in my gut. And listen to yourself when you see this. I could feel it in my gut that this was my exponential opportunity. Now, it didn't work out exactly the way that I thought, and you're going to hear about that in just a second. But it was indeed what led me on the path to my exponential opportunity. So here's what I found. I said, okay, great. I'm going to run YouTube ads for mobile apps. And so I started tapping all the network. Remember all those inbound requests, those 50 emails a day? That had turned into hundreds of mobile apps that had sponsored me. So then I sent out emails to all of those applications saying, hey, I now do YouTube ads for mobile apps. Here's the results that these people have gotten. I'd love to do YouTube ads for your apps. And sure enough, I had dozens of people hire me where I was then able to run millions of downloads for those applications. But still, I was looking for something a little bit more. What I noticed was the app market, which had peaked, was starting to actually come down a little bit. Like the time that I was really doing the YouTube ads for mobile apps, especially in those early days, was when everybody was trying to create an Uber for this, an Uber for that. There was so much venture capital money. But what I started to realize is a lot of the applications, and I haven't really told this to many people, but I want to share this with all of you here who are on the YouTube channel. By the way, feel free to subscribe if you want more content just like this, where I'm going to talk real to you. I'm going to share all the different components. But in reality, I started to notice something a little strange. And this kind of ate at me a little bit. A lot of the different applications I was working with didn't actually have a plan for revenue. So yes, we were getting them fantastic results. Millions of downloads overall. I remember, one client, we got a couple 100,000 users for their app. And they said, hey, we're gonna pause. These results are amazing, better than every other channel. We got to pause this campaign because we don't have a path to revenue. And so it started to be a little bit odd to me. And so the app bubble, it didn't burst, but it started to slow down a little bit, right? It was in a peak and it started to slow down a little bit. And so what I started realizing was, I'm spending a lot of time promoting these apps that are mostly free apps, driving lots of downloads, exceeding their KPIs, giving them what they want, but it wasn't always generating a ton of revenue for their business. So I wanted to ask myself, how can I use YouTube ads to generate cold hard dollars, actual money for the clients. And so, on the app side, I started to work with apps to integrate in their monetization. We were actually a part of the early stage Google app beta program when they started to do certain app optimizations. But that's a whole nother story. But what I started to look at is, well, how can I work with more businesses? And this all changed at another inflection point. Now, I'm a huge believer in going to events, going to masterminds, meeting different people. And so I went to an event in my local area, because again, I grew up in Massachusetts, and I was going to college out there. And there was HubSpot Inbound 2016. And again, I had gotten all my clients from inbound marketing, so people reaching out to me. And so I wanted to go and check out what they had to offer. But I discovered something even better than more inbound strategies. What I discovered was ClickFunnels. Now, you may or may not be aware, a lot of you probably already know ClickFunnels. If you don't, it's an incredible landing page software that allows you to create a funnel for your business to take clients from one step to another. And so what I did is I discovered ClickFunnels, and I realized, wow, I can actually create a funnel for my business to attract originally, app developers into my business, to get them to then book a call with me and become a client. That was another pivot point. I discovered a really strong strategy, a really strong software. It's the same, type of realization I see our clients get when they discover for the first time that YouTube ads are far better than Facebook, and they turn on those ads and it changes. It's like night and day for them, right? And so what I discovered was ClickFunnels. And so through that, I then looked for masterminds around this, and actually joined my first mastermind around that time too. I remember I was in a college dorm room. I called up the person who's part of that mastermind, and they told me that they were going to be able to help me package all of this together and really create a funnel to sell my services. And so I joined that mastermind. I created a funnel. I learned how to craft a webinar, how to get on the phone and have a consultative sale to learn a little bit more about people and kind of map out, hey, here's my solution for you. And so what they were teaching in that program, though, was Facebook ads to a webinar to a phone call to become a client. But you know me, I love YouTube ads, so I started running YouTube ads to a webinar to a phone call to become a client. And so what I started to see was, wow, these results were fantastic, but everybody else in the mastermind, they were running Facebook ads, and they were getting good results, but I was getting phenomenal results. And I had people ask me, how are you doing so well with that? How are you doing that? How are you doing YouTube ads to the webinar? This was another pivot point. So ask yourself, where are there pivot points in your business that are massive opportunities you can seize? Because at the time, I was still doing app outreach, YouTube ads for mobile apps. But what I realized was, like I said earlier, a lot of the apps I was working with, apps was kind of falling in terms of its popularity. The stage of venture capital companies pumping a ton of money into pre-revenue apps was fading, right? So it was only the top apps that were getting that. Whereas early on, everybody was creating applications. They had their targets. We were exceeding their KPIs, but they still weren't necessarily making massive amounts of revenue because there were a lot of free apps. And so I was starting to get a little disillusioned with some of the app side of things. Again, we still work with a lot of apps. I love apps. It's, the market's just shifted there. But what I started realizing was, wow, I can actually do YouTube ads for webinars, and it's performing, 4, 5, times better than what everybody else in the mastermind was doing with Facebook ads. So everybody started asking me, how am I doing that with YouTube ads? So then what I started to do is help many of the clients within that mastermind in YouTube ads. So I started to actually teach them how they could do YouTube ads for their business. And I soon found that I love that, because remember I told you about the concern with apps before, about the revenue side of things. Well, what I could do with this is teach somebody YouTube ads to sell their program, their course, their consulting, their packages, or their e-commerce products, and they'd get money like that. They'd get money immediately, and you could see the return. You could see 7, 8, 10x returns. I mean, sometimes 3, 4, depends on where they're at, right? But you could see the returns. $1 comes in, $5 comes out. $1 goes in, $3 comes out. $1 goes in, $10 come out. It was incredible to see that I had figured out how to actually help our clients generate immediate returns and immediate money. And I realized this was massive, and I could share this with the world. So then I rebranded the entire thing from app outreach to to ad outreach. YouTube ads to scale your business, get consistent leads and sales. I was talking about rocket ships from the very beginning, so YouTube ads to skyrocket your business. It's always been a big part of the Ad Outreach brand. And so what I started to do was actually help people learn how they could leverage YouTube ads in their business. So I built a whole program around it. And instead of doing a course where I was just teaching, or instead of doing an agency where I was doing it all for them, kind of like what I was doing with apps, I built a hybrid process where I'd actually write out the script with them on a call, and then eventually, I hired a team. We'll get to that in a second, right? The process to scale there, where we'd write out a script step by step, exactly what to say and do. I figured out what made a great YouTube ad: hook, educate, call to action, pull people in, provide value, then have a clear and concise call to action. Then from there, I also learned how to target the right people from what I had done before with apps, and then also refining that over time with businesses. Targeting the right person, the right time with the right ad. So sure enough, I put together our full YouTube ads program, and we started having clients coming in and seeing fantastic results. And I'm like, this is amazing, this is exciting. And I realized that that's what I love to do. I love to see clients win and see clients get immediate returns on their investment from their ads. This wasn't a pre-revenue app where they, spend literally, I kid you not, like hundreds of thousands of dollars, get hundreds of thousands of users or whatever it is, or 100,000 users, whatever it is, and then they're pre-revenue, so they're not actually earning revenue. This is somebody could put in $1 and make 5, 10, or 3 or whatever dollars out, right? You're actually multiplying that investment. That became incredibly addicting and exciting. And it was exciting to see clients win. And so what I realized was I need to bring some people onto the team. So I hired Julia actually onto my team, who's my COO now, but at the time she came on as my first intern. She came into the team to help me integrate different things, help me manage my email list, help me manage the calls I was getting. We were getting so many people. The same way with the with the YouTube channel, I had all these inbound requests. I was getting the same thing with this business, with Ad Outreach. I had all these people applying to book a call to work with me and my team to help them with YouTube ads. And because I really wanted to make sure that everybody was a good fit, by the way, this is something we take to this day. We cancel about 40% of the calls that we get who try to book with us, right? Because it's maybe not a good fit. We want to make sure that it's a good fit for our clients, and we figure out on the phone too. But we had all these people applying, so we had to learn how to filter them out, see who's going to do really well with this, who it might make sense in the future, or their industry isn't going to work as well. And again, the way to find out is by applying. And so we had all these people requesting to work with me to help them with YouTube ads. And so I realized, great, I've got Julia to help me with all these logistics side of things, to help me, vet these applications, to help me with the email list, to help me build out operations, because that's, her mind and her skill set. But what I realized is, now I need somebody to help me with client success. So I found somebody who was good at ads and YouTube ads, and I brought them in. Well, really, they were more in Facebook ads, to be completely honest. I trained them in YouTube. Back then, people weren't really running YouTube ads for direct response. Some of the responses that I would get would be people laughing at me. They thought that YouTube ads were just for branding, right? They didn't know that YouTube ads were for conversions. And actually back then, it was all CPV, cost per view bidding. So you weren't actually optimizing. Google didn't have an algorithm at the time to optimize the ads the same way Facebook did. It was all manually bidding. I want to run in front of these keywords, these videos, this targeting, these audiences. And so I essentially was the algorithm. And that's one of the reasons we're so good at teaching YouTube ads now, is because I cut my teeth in the early days when it was 10 times harder and you had to actually manually optimize the campaigns. Nowadays you have automatic optimization, but what most people do is they just let Google do its thing. You got to combine manual and automatic, meld them together. That's just a little YouTube ads pro tip. But back to the story here. So what I realized is, wow, I need to hire a client success person. I need to hire somebody who's going to help our clients implement this. So I brought somebody on. At the time it was a person named Phil, amazing guy. So what I was able to do is train him here step by step, what my process is. And he already was really well versed within advertising, a little bit newer to YouTube ads. So I trained him up, got him ready, made sure he was ready to go. And then him and I were helping our clients implement this strategy, implement this process. And so over time, now we're getting more and more clients. And so we realized, wow, we need to hire more people. So we hired a professional copywriter to help write the scripts, right? Somebody who was trained at video copy, but I could train them in my YouTube ad strategy. So now I have somebody who's helping on the copy side. And then I have somebody helping on the ad side. And I've got Julia helping me on the operations side. And then fast forward, I'm hiring even more people. I'm hiring somebody, because I was taking all the calls myself, I hired somebody to take calls on the consultative side, one of my advisors who could hop on calls, learn about businesses. When people, book a call, they can learn about the business, see if they're a good fit for YouTube ads, and kind of map out that strategy. By the way, if you want a call like that, the link is down there below in the description. So they'll map out exactly what the strategy is. So then I hired my first advisor onto the team. And then from there, it was just scaling up what was working, bringing on more YouTube ads strategists, this time with actual more YouTube ads experience, not somebody I just trained myself, but people who had also been doing YouTube ads in other areas, right? And we brought in people with YouTube ads experience. We brought in copywriters. We brought in more people on the operations side of things. We brought in marketing people too. So we started to actually bring in people to work on videos like this, but also people to work on the ad side that I could train in running ads for our own business, because we practice what we preach. We run YouTube ads to bring people in, and then omnipresent retargeting in the background. So things were really scaling and really growing. And it was around this time, this was back in 2019, that earlier on in 2019, that I was looking to scale that first $100,000 month. And I remember really just dialing in and saying, you know what, I'm gonna get very specific on the people that I wanna work with and the people I wanna dive into. And I actually, really narrowed down the amount of applications and calls I was taking that month. I got on calls with, a bunch of people that I knew I could really, really help, and brought them in, and we had our first $100,000 month. This was back in March of 2019. And from there, I was excited. I was like, wow, we've now done $100,000 in a month, and I could bring on even more people onto our team. And soon we started calling it the dream team, which I really mean is like, we've got an incredible team of people. Somebody asked me at one point, what's the secret to success? The secret to success is alignment. Alignment of the success of your clients, your team, and yourself. And when you align all three of those, you see the most success, and that's what I was doing. Right? That's what I was doing. I was aligning that success. And so what started happening is now I started bringing more and more people onto our dream team. We started bringing more and more people on. And over time, now we had whole departments. Now we had a marketing department. Now we had a sales department, an operations department, a client success department, growing more and more people. And then we're scaling $200,000 a month. And I fly out to Paris, and I have a hot seat with Jay Abraham. He's one of the top business marketing consultants out here. And I had a 20-minute hot seat with him. And he provided some incredible business insight to me, specifically around hiring more people, hiring more advisors on our sales team, hiring more people there to actually scale that up, and also spending more on ads to grow. Because at the time, I was so excited, like, I'm spending $20,000, $25,000 a month on ads, earning $200,000 plus dollars. That's, like an 8-9x ROAS, right? Every dollar was turning into 8 or 9. He said, and I won't forget this, why not spend more on ads? If you have that big of a return, why not spend more? And I realized, hey, why not? And so I started to scale up. I stopped for a second because I was incrementally scaling. I realized, wow, I can actually exponentially scale what I was looking for. So I scaled the business up, started 2020, we're now at $300,000 a month. And then, everything happens with 2020. And instead of slowing down, I realized now is the time to speed up. Businesses need YouTube ads more than ever. So I doubled down and we spent more on ads, even when we weren't making as much of an immediate return. Now, we still had a really high return, just to be completely honest, but it wasn't the same, 8, 9x that we were before, but I knew that it was gonna come. And actually what ended up happening, as you know, with that whole, 2020, is things started picking back up and we were seizing it. We were riding fast. And we ended up between 4 and 5xing the business over the course of 2020. And so now, right, we're doing $800,000 a month. The overall month or overall year of 2020 did about 4 to 5 times as much as we did in 2019. So, end of the year had like $800,000 $1,000 plus per month. And then in 2021, we scaled to over $1 million a month. We brought in incredible team members. We continued to grow. We added new programs. So our omnipresent retargeting. So YouTube ads brings people in, but omnipresent retargeting warms them up. Think about it like a gigantic microwave, right? All these leads are coming into your business. You could turn on the knob, warm them up, actually get them to convert on every platform. So now we have omnipresent retargeting. So YouTube ads pulls people in, omnipresent retargeting. So now we can actually upgrade people into our back-end programs. We can have them continue to work with us, continue to learn from us, and that's going to continue to grow over time. And then we added more programs, more offerings. We continued to scale the business and reach more and more people until we get to today. Right? So we're consistently doing between $1 to $1.6 million a month. We have a 50-person team. We're based right here in downtown Austin, Texas. We have an amazing office. We've got an incredible dream team, and we have plans to scale, next to 30 million and then to 100 million and beyond in terms of year, right? So, $3 to $4 million a month, and then, $8 to $10 million a month and beyond. And so that's the journey that I used to get there. And you'll notice throughout that process, there's many pivot points, right? Going from a YouTube channel about mobile apps to, actually turning that into a business and systematizing it and pulling myself out, right? The linear business. So now I had that 4-hour work week or, 1-hour work week model. Then discovering YouTube ads for mobile apps and pivoting to that and seizing that opportunity. And then from there, discovering another opportunity of training businesses on YouTube ads. And then seizing the opportunity of the times in 2020 and doubling down when I knew that this is what businesses needed. And then also reinvesting and doubling down on the team, building the incredible office space that we have, building the dream team that we have today. All of these different pivot points, all of these seized opportunities turned us into where we're at today. So in your business career, in your life, I've got a few different things that I recommend going through. Ask yourself, what are you passionate about? What would you love to do? And then start doing those things, even if you don't know exactly what's going to produce that revenue in the future. What you're going to start to notice is opportunities to monetize that and turn it into a business. Once you're into a business, though, ask yourself, is this a linear business? In which case, pull yourself out, turn it into that 4-hour work week model. Or is there an opportunity for an exponential business? And if there is, seize it and double down on it. And that's how you can scale your online business to over $1 million a month. That's how I scaled my online business to over $1 million a month. And I'm going to keep continuing to share the journey with you right here on YouTube. So make sure you subscribe, like the video, share it with somebody else that wants to see this message as well. Comment down below, where are you at in your entrepreneurial journey? I'd love to learn where you're at right now. If you're looking to use YouTube ads, we got a link to that call I mentioned down in the description below. If you're also looking to build your first online business, or you're looking to grow your online business with organic marketing, maybe not quite ready for ads yet, we have our video clients, trainings, and program to actually teach you how you can start gaining clients using organic video. That's all down there in the description below as well. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you on the next one.